Look, I'm gonna be honest here. I went into Tron Ares with no expectations. All I wanted out of this movie was spectacular visuals and a kick-ass soundtrack. And judged on those metrics alone, this movie was stunning. I can count on one hand the number of times a film has actually taken my breath away with its visuals, and this movie's one of them. So if those are the only parts you care about, I would say go check it out. Everything else about this movie is a complete mess. From the horrible CG-assisted ADR to an incomprehensible story that creates more problems than it solves, to a batch of characters that feel like they should have been in some mid-budget TV movie rather than a legitimate sci-fi film. Tron Ares fails on almost every level. Before we go any further though, I'm giving you a heads up. There will be spoilers. Look, I get it. This is a Tron movie. I wasn't expecting earth-shattering philosophical questions, although Tron Legacy tried its best to raise them, or an Academy Award-winning story. But I was at least hoping to get something that didn't have me looking at the screen like this. From the very second that Tron Ares starts, it seems absolutely desperate to put as much distance between itself and the rest of the series as possible. There is one line that references Sam Flynn from the second movie, and all it states is that he had to step away for personal reasons, whatever the hell that means. Which is all the more interesting when you consider that they clearly tried to set up a fourth installment that sees Ares searching for Olivia Wilde's Cora. I'm not sure why they couldn't stay the course with either Sam Flynn or Garrett Hedlund, but I have a sneaking suspicion.
Put a ticket in, make her name it gay!
So instead, we're given Eve Kim, a rando who managed to become CEO of NCOM by repackaging Kevin Flynn's space paranoids and selling it to the masses.
You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, packaged it and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it.
I can understand why Disney thinks this is a laudable business model, but it feels gross, like legitimately gross. Greta Lee does a fine enough job with what she's given, but she just has nothing to work with. We have no connection to the character, a paper-thin reason to care about her involving a dead sister, and she spends the entire film just piggybacking off of the work that Kevin Flynn has already done. And all of this would have been, well, maybe not fine, but tolerable if they hadn't broken out the member berries about 2/3 of the way through the movie by shoehorning in Jeff Bridges as an AI construct. Like, if you're gonna shred the legacy of one of the most venerable IP in sci-fi history, have the balls to hold your ground on it. Don't drop in a familiar face just to kick the audience in the nostalgia feels. Side note on the subject of familiar faces, it's always good to see Cameron Monaghan. I really wish they'd given him more to do. But anyway, that's really the crux of my problem with this film. It is so tonally inconsistent. And not just regarding the story either, it's the characters as well. Jared Leto, who can apparently only turn in a quality performance when he's not playing a human, bounces back and forth between a stoic yet introspective soldier program and a down-to-earth bro who likes retrofitted Hondas and Depeche Mode.
Those concepts bump.
In addition to the character issues, there are utterly massive plot holes that this movie almost seems to aim for rather than try to avoid. The central one revolves around the plot's MacGuffin, the so-called permanence code. This movie tries to retroactively insert this thing as, quote, 2 lines of code that would allow anything in the digital world to permanently survive in the real one. Here's the kicker. The movie wants us to believe that Kevin Flynn wrote this thing all the way back in the 80s, then hid it from everybody, didn't mention it to his own son in the second movie, and just left it in a hut in Alaska for the aforementioned Eve Kim to find.
What the
If you aren't seeing the cracks in this little tale by this point, then I really don't know what to tell you. Like, how in the hell did Flynn write this code on a Commodore 64, which was functional not only back then, but also compatible with modern hardware and a completely different and unimaginably more complicated code base? Sorry, geeked out a little too hard there, let's bring it back. I almost would have rather had Eve be the stereotypical strong female character and just write the damn code herself than whatever the hell this is. Honestly, you make her a code monkey at NCOM working on a project to allow digital constructs to survive in the real world, and she just figures it out. Don't make Kevin Flynn an asshole for not telling the world that he figured out how to create a post-scarcity society.
Solve world hunger. Tell no one.
And while we're on the subject of what could have been, I'd just like to mention that I tweeted an idea for who Ares could be, and I still think it opens the door for a better movie than what we got. At the very least, it actually adds Tron to your Tron film. Also, justice for Bruce Boxleitner. He got cornholed in Tron Legacy and in this movie. Why is it so hard for writers to work in the damn namesake of the IP? A character who literally fights for the users.
That's Tron, he fights for the users.
For God's sake, he got more screen time in Kingdom Hearts than he got in either of the sequels combined. You know, as I was writing the script, I had a thought. You see, the whole time I was watching Tron Ares, I just couldn't shake the feeling that I was watching it on 1.25 speed. This movie goes fast. Don't get me wrong, I'm fine when a movie runs at a good clip. If you've got a lot to say but no time to say it, sometimes it's really all you can do. The problem is that this movie does it in a way that makes me think they were hoping nobody would be able to pay particularly close attention. The action, the dialogue, whole conversations felt like they were sprinting for the next scene to keep you from figuring out just how borked this movie is. Like, I honestly couldn't tell you the names of most of the characters because they just dumped them into the dialogue with a half dozen plot points that you needed to be focusing on instead. But the funny thing is that when it came to the special effects, they slowed everything way down to allow you to soak in all the neon-saturated goodness. Add in the soundtrack by Nine Inch Nails, who've been ruling this type of space since the original Quake, and I'd almost rather see a supercut of the movie with just these moments. Circling back to the story, I actually want to get your guys' opinion on something. See, Evan Peters plays Julian Dillinger, the CEO of Dillinger Systems, a tech firm created by Ed Dillinger, the bad guy of the first movie. Lots of Dillinger. The movie tells us that this company was started 40 years ago to compete with Encom, and has been helmed by Gillian Anderson's Elizabeth Dillinger until her son snaked the reins from her. Here's my issue. In the second film, Ed Dillinger's son, Ed Dillinger Jr., was working for Encom during the release of their new operating system. If Dillinger Systems was already around by this point, why would Dillinger Jr. be working for Encom? Furthermore, why would Encom be employing the son of their greatest rival in the industry? I don't know if this was a mistake or if this new writing team just didn't really care about the continuity, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments, because it seems to me like someone on the writing team made a big ol' oopsie. Now, in the face of the rest of the mistakes this movie makes, it's kind of whatever, but it's still one that stuck with me and really derails what little plot the movie has. Tron Ares is not good. I don't want to say that it's a soulless cash grab, but it definitely wouldn't be a stretch to imagine. Their simultaneous performative reverence and utter dismissal of the source material, their slapdash approach to the characters and plot, the cognitive dissonance of characterizations from scene to scene, nothing about this movie makes sense. Honestly, I can't shake the feeling that this film started out life as a completely different script, not connected to the Tron IP at all, that they then tried to retrofit to exist within this universe. It's the only thing I can think of that would explain how this movie could be so laser-focused at times and so flighty at others. I'm interested to hear your thoughts, so let me know down in the comments if you've got any ideas. Anyway, that's all I've got for you this time, so if you could do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons, I'd really appreciate it. Every little bit really helps me out. Also, go ahead and check out the other videos on my channel, or maybe hit up my website to read my blog or buy one of my books on Amazon. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.